Okay, so moving forward, allow me to introduce our second speaker who will discuss and indulge us in her discussions about Ilocano cuisine. Let us give a warm welcome to Dr. Donna Paz Reyes, a professor from Miriam College's Department of Environment. Makakalikasang araw po, Dr. Donna.
Mapakalikasang araw din sa lahat ng mga nakikinig dito sa ating forum ng Green Convergence. Appreciating Ilocano cuisine for sustainability. I'd like to say that first and foremost, I'm an Ilocano professor, an ecology professor, and I'm not a cook. So don't ask me how to cook the best pakbet, but I come from a perspective of environment and of ecology. And I'm also a promoter of the Ilocano culture, not only in terms of food, but in terms of ecological practices, also in terms of fabrics, our abel, our culture, and also the ways that are Ilocano and which can be viewed as sustainable. And thus, I'm a board member of Kanawidan Foundation Incorporated, which is a group of Ilocanos from Ilocos Norte who are promoting our Ilocano culture. Okay. So my outline will be a brief introduction, and then I'll go to a description of native Ilocano dishes and sustainable practices that we do as part of everyday life in order to promote environmental care and sustainability. And we believe that these are distinctively Ilocano and was also a result of some observations and researches that I've conducted in the process of collecting evidence that we Ilocanos are sustainable. And I will end it with conservation values of Ilocanos or ethical values concerning sustainability. Okay. To begin, let me quote Pope Francis in Laudato Si and the care of our common future. Since I teach ecology, it has been something innovative for me to incorporate culture. So let me quote, there's a need to incorporate the history, culture, and architecture of each place, in this case, Ilocano, thus preserving its original identity. Ecology, which I teach, then also involves protecting the cultural treasures of humanity in the broadest sense. More specifically, it calls for greater attention to local cultures and also local cuisine when studying environmental problems, favoring a dialogue between scientific technical language and the language of the people. Culture is more than what we have inherited from the past. It is also, above all things, a living, dynamic, and participatory present reality, which cannot be excluded as we rethink the relationship between human beings and the environment. Okay. Sometime 2018, I wrote a book entitled Salimet Metantikame, that's Ilocano, meaning how to treasure our riches, protecting and preserving the natural heritage of Ilocos Norte. And this was published by Kanawidan Foundation Incorporated. And in this book was a description of Ilocano cuisine and some lessons learned from how we Ilocanos eat, prepare, and consume food. Next slide, please. So part of my presentation here is derived from certain sections of the book. We believe that we Ilocanos are ultimate ecologists. Before people thought of sustainable lifestyles and simple lifestyles, we were already, as part of our culture, thrifty, frugal, hardworking, and simple. And we earned as thus the moniker kuripot or kirmet, normally viewed as something which is not always pleasant. But if you view the language of sustainability, we can rethink these practices from an environmental perspective, more specifically from a low carbon lifestyle as a measure for climate change mitigation and adaptation. When ha unmet, Attorney Jongko, when ha may kapudno nga kirmet tayo. Next slide, please. As an ecologist, let me start with a discussion of the natural ecosystems of Ilocos Norte, from our mountain forests to our rivers, to our agricultural areas, to our beaches, etc. Because all of these ecosystems sustain the habitat of plants and animals which we utilize as food. And therefore, it is essential that we conserve these ecosystems to be able to fish, to be able to gather medicines and food. And yes, sir, from Vegan po, ma'am. Sir, thank you, attorney. I'm from Ilocos Norte, and that's why these slides are basically a result of my research in Ilocos Norte. But it's also notable that Kandawidan Festival is something that is well celebrated in Vigan and Ilocos Sur. And needless to say, we share the same culture and a lot of ways the same cuisine, although sometimes prepared a little differently. Next slide, please. So our cuisine is basically vegetable-based. It is plant-based. And we eat a lot of plants, crops, vegetables, fruits, and that's why they say that Ilocanos even eat weeds. No, and let's take a look at that. Is it true? No, so let me just look at this picture of pakbet. And as you can see, it has different ingredients. And sometimes what you find in the pakbet may be a bit different. It depends normally on what is also available in the market. So we have here small eggplants and small ampalaya, no, not the long ones, no, and some people ask why so? Yeah, because that's normally what we had in the past, and sometimes these small vegetables are even more expensive than bigger ones, no, just like our garlic. Our garlic can be more expensive than the imported Chinese garlic, but it's, we believe, more tasteful and more delicious. So little ampalayas, little eggplants, string beans, kalabasa, others don't put kalabasa, okra, of course, ginger, no, and mashed potatoes, or sometimes just sliced potatoes, and the lasuna, or what we call the small onions, patani, panlang, parda, and sometimes meat, or what we call also bagnet, or in Ilocos Norte we call also karahay. And we have bagoong to taste. And our bagoong is not the shrimp bagoong, but it's the fish bagoong, which is also prepared in the different barrios of Ilocos Norte. It's artisanal. So if you look at all these different ingredients of pakbet, they are found in Ilocos Norte. So even if you cut off Ilocos Norte from the rest of the Philippines, we can still produce our delicious bagnet. Of course, sir, garlic is aromatic, you know, and sometimes more expensive than the ones that is imported. Next slide, please. And for those who are more modern and don't like the bagoong too much. No, there's now a restaurant in Ilocos Norte also serving pakbet pizza. So we can modernize our pakbet as well, especially for the younger generation. Next slide, please. So who can miss the dinengdeng, or what we also call the inabraw? And the ingredients include malunggay, saluyot, sitaw, alokon, karabasa, or in other words, any vegetable that you have in your pantry or in your garden, just put them all together, the bagoong or salt. And sometimes, no, we put leftover fish, or if you had fish for breakfast and you didn't finish it, you can add it in your dinengdeng or inabraw for flavor. Sometimes people ask, do you fry the fish before you cook them? For inabraw, not necessarily. So it's in a lot of ways leftover fish. So we don't waste our leftover food and recycle them and convert them or utilize them for other dishes. Next slide, please. And of course, my favorite, we have the Ilocano salad. You just boil the different types of vegetables, and then you prepare what we call KBL. This is the ultimate Ilocano sausawan. Kamatis, bagoong, at lasuna. Lasuna are small onions with leaves still in them, and we use them for almost any dish, no? As sausawan, not only in the Ilocano salad, but even in bagnet, the longganisa, you eat them with KBL or kamatis, bagoong, at lasuna. And if you take note, bagoong being fish-based also has protein, and that makes our Ilocano salad a complete dish. In other words, something that is nutritious. So there are many more vegetable dishes, no? But let me just discuss some of the plants that we use to be able to create this delicious food. Next slide, please. So number one is malunggay, or scientifically known as Moringa oleifera, otherwise known as the tree of life. And this is very precious to us Ilocanos. It's the magic that we have, and that's why we are sturdy, we're strong. And this vegetable is rich in antioxidant-laden nutrients such as vitamin C, beta-carotene, quercetin, and other minerals and vitamins, no? And of course, we now prepare them in capsules, in what other form, but generally, the malunggay is planted in our homes, in our backyard, in our front yard, in the street, as you can see here. And when I went to Hawaii, you can recognize the Ilocano houses because they have malunggay in their backyards. And so they call it the national flag or the Ilocano flag of our people there in Hawaii. As we know, a great percentage of Filipinos are Ilocanos. And they, of course, they become part of our economy because they send us not only balikbayan boxes, but also money, etc., for the education of children that's on the side. And so this malunggay, you don't have to grow them. Sometimes you just walk in the street and you will find malunggay in the sidewalks. And so you just ask your neighbor, pahingi naman ho ng malunggay, and sometimes it can be given to you for free, of course. Next slide, please. Another unique vegetable, which not very many regions utilize for food consumption, is alokon or alukon, or in Tagalog, himbabao. And you can see here in the picture certain flowers, which are elongated. And this is scientifically known as Rosonesia luzonica. And I'm not sure whether it is unique to Ilocos Norte or other parts of the Ilocandia, but I think that we are the only ones who really eat it on a regular basis. It's a tree, and it's nutritious as well. It offers carbohydrates, nutrients, and fibers, and also antioxidants, another healthy vegetable. Next slide, please. And of course, the very important saluyot, which is actually a weed. Okay, and it's Corchorus olitorius, or otherwise known as jute. And again, it's very, very nutritious. It's rich in iron, protein, calcium, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, folate, and other vegetables, minerals, and nutrients. No, and it is a very important food, but least not very much recognized. And my friend early says that when you go to the market, saluyot is very cheap. Again, sometimes you don't buy it, we just get it from our uh, yard, and also from the yards of our neighbors, no? But to recognize the importance of the saluyot, a Japanese company has patented the anti-stress property of saluyot. So they created a plantation in Central Luzon and manufactured it into tablet or powder. This is according to the Institute of Agriculture and Trade Policy in 1998. And of course, a lot of our vegetables and patenting biodiversity has been questioned, but this just goes to show that the saluyot is very important and again contributes to the sturdiness, the strength of the Ilocanos. Next slide, please. Now, I featured here our delicacy, tupig. And if you look at it, this is just glutinous rice with coconut and molasses tagapulot, which we also produce, and which is wrapped in banana leaves and roasted. Okay, and this is a picture which I took in Sarat because they produce very delicious tupig. And this is a takeoff for my discussion of sustainable production of rice in Ilocos Norte. It has been said that we produce enough rice for our own population, and therefore it means that we are self-sufficient in terms of rice. Next slide, please. Now, one of the practices is that our irrigated rice fields are maintained because of certain social practices, including what we call Sanhera. What is the Sanhera? It's a group or association of farmers who have banded themselves together to offer their services, primarily their labor to build, operate, and maintain irrigation or water systems to make their lands more productive. So the Sanheras normally determine when the patches of irrigated land will receive water so that there is an equitable distribution of water in the different rice fields. And this water normally comes from the rivers, in our case, the Bislak River. And the Sanheras is a unique way by which there's a social structure to be able to do this, and which is not necessarily government controlled, but the control is community based. Next slide, please. So crop sustainability is also contributed by our practice of planting our food sources. This is a medical doctor that I was able to interview, getting mangoes from his backyard. And this practice of having orchards is very common in Ilocos. It's not only just in our backyards, but also small farms that we have. The farms in Ilocos Norte are quite small compared to the haciendas of the south. The average hectareage per family is around half a hectare. And we also produce rice from these small farms, and therefore every family can produce their own rice. So we eat local, in other words, like all the ingredients of pakbet, they are grown in Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, etc. In other words, it is sourced from our own provinces. So in terms of transportation, it's very near, and therefore it's also sustainable, and not much cost is attributed to transportation. And of course, normally they are gathered in season. We do a lot of backyard and front yard gardening. We produce our own food in our backyards, in our farms, but also Ilocanos love something free. And this call in modern, we should call in modern terms for foraging. In other words, getting food from everywhere, just walk in your neighborhood and maybe pick out some malunggay or other vegetables that are scattered around, if not different spices also, and some medicinal plants. And this is free. So it's free sourcing. Next slide, please. So that's for the plant-based dishes, no? Now let's go to source of food, which is something special for us Ilocanos, kalding. So if you have a special Christmas or birthday party, you buy a whole kalding. You buy a whole goat, which is grown in backyards, no? And you slaughter them party, and after the party, you utilize almost every part of the kalding into different dishes. Minus the horn, the skin is also utilized, but of course the nails and the bones may not necessarily be utilized all the time, but you can make them also into kalderetang kalding or kambing. And the skin we use for kilawen, and papaitan innards also are being utilized to make that. And so the thing is, you use almost every part of the kalding into different types of special dishes. And these are normally served during special celebrations of Ilocanos. Next slide, please. And that's also the same case for pork. No, we use the innards to even the blood to make dinardaraan or dinuguan, and of course the skin into bagnet, igado, etc., and to the different dishes that we love as Ilocanos. And again, we use almost every part, even the skin. Next slide, please, is utilized for our famous longganisa. I put here a certain type of salt. It's called the Pasukin salt because there's a town in Ilocos Norte, Pasukin, where we produce salt from drying basically and cooking. And that's the one that we use in the province. And of course, our famous Sukang Iloco, which we make from sugarcane. We don't produce our own soy. I don't think so. But for most ingredients of our dishes, they are also produced in our province. Next slide, please. This is a very interesting fish, no, for our fish dishes, and I will discuss it a little bit more extensively because this fish comes from my hometown and it's my favorite fish. It's called bukto, and it's a river fish, and it's very popular among us and also very expensive because there's a market in Hawaii for our Ilocanos, and normally it costs around 1,500 pesos per kilo. And we put in a lot of effort in the conservation of the habitat of the bukto, which is rivers, and marine areas. The shrimp is not included here, no, it's just part of the dish. Because normally when you catch the bukto, you also catch the shrimp. Next slide, please. The bukto is a different type of goby, which is when small, is found in the beaches of Pasukin, La Paz, and the other beaches of Ilocos Norte. And when they're small and juvenile, they're called ipon. And they are marine, as I've said. So we boil it generally or just steam it. And again, it's something very special. And you just put tomato, salt, and water. And the amount of water depends on whether you want it to be soupy or you want it a little bit dry. But then again, this is special delicacy of Ilocanos. And the ipon is the same species of goby as bukto. Next slide, please. So the ipon or bukto is Copterus lacrimosus. It's a marine in its juvenile stage and freshwater in its adult stage. And when it reaches the uplands of my town, Vintar, they are big enough, maybe 4 to 6 inches, and that's when they get to be very expensive. And the juvenile are found in the West Philippine Sea, and like salmon, they go up the river. First in the coastal town of Bacara, and then going to our town, which is a town in the mountains. And as they climb the mountain, they become bigger and bigger. So they pass through the Bislak River. And therefore, this is a very unique situation, and the conservation efforts are both done in Bacara and Vintar to be able to create fishing conditions which are suitable for bukto, because we love this fish. Next slide, please. And therefore, we have laws uh, which conserve the ipon and bukto, such as the Municipal Ordinance 01/20/2012, which is an ordinance enacting the revised Environment Code of 2012 of the Municipality of Vintar, Ilocos Norte. And this ordinance describes the allowable fishing methods such as sarep, dundon, rama, kunukon, and these are very simple fishing techniques which involve putting together stones and branches which will act as a habitat of the bukto when they go up the river. And likewise, the Environment Code also describes the fishnet mesh, the number, in other words, the size. So you cannot catch them when they are very small. There's a certain amount or size of fish that you can use to catch them. Why so? Because we want them to grow bigger, of course, and not to catch them when they're still very small. And likewise, there's an open season for catching the bukto, and this is in April and August. And so in other parts of the year, you cannot catch them. It's illegal. And you can be caught by police if you go against this rule. Now, there's a question that I'd like to pose as well, but which we have not researched, on the impact of river dredging on the habitat of bukto. When you dredge the river, you remove the big stones, which is the habitat of bukto. And while it is been observed that it diminishes the catch, it has not been scientifically proven, as there are yet no scientific studies on the matter. But generally, the thing is, we make great efforts to be able to preserve the habitat of the fish, which we so love. Next slide, please. Now, they say that the Ilocanos or the Ilocanje is basically dry. No, and so we have to be resourceful and innovative in obtaining food, and we also eat the eggs of red ants, no, which we boil, as you can see here, and we call it buos. You just put salt and tomatoes, boil them a little. Uh, it's a dry dish, uh, and so this is another delicacy. So we eat wildlife. We eat this type of wildlife. Next slide, please. Also, we eat abal-abal, or the May beetle, not only on a very small scale, because you only catch them in May in the rice fields, and there are not too many of them, but this is a delicacy as well. Next slide, please. So, in other words, based on these unique dishes that we have in Ilocos Norte, I cannot describe all of them, but these are some of the environmental practices and values that we utilize in preparing our food and making the local dishes. We eat local food and in season, and we all eat all edible parts of the plant or animal like kalding. We recycle food in that uh, any uneaten food is not wasted, and you convert them into ingredients of other dishes. You grow food in your backyard or farm. And of course, we eat dinengdeng and pakbet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, basically. So, native empalaya is the small ones, yes. And we prioritize, therefore, good health, and we get our vitamins and minerals from the vegetables and from the food that we eat. I remember that my grandparents did not take supplements when they were alive, but they lived up to 99, 100, 101. So again, we do not throw away food. If you taste bagoong, it's very salty, but then salt is a preservative, and we finish the pakbet until every morsel is eaten. We are resourceful. We get things for free. We avoid waste. Of course, we are wise spenders, not to buy too much that you spoil those which are in excess. And of course, we save for a rainy day. Uh, when we were young, we had sarusar. Almost every house had a sarusar, which is where you put the salt in sacks and the bagoong in big jars. So, which can be good for 1 year or several months. No. And as an ecologist, let me just next slide, please. Say again, as I said, started that we need to conserve the habitats and the food baskets in nature, so we keep the rivers, beaches, and other bodies of water clean for our fish, and we protect the forests and our watershed to get adequate water, and at the same time to be able to gather some wild medicine and food stuff. Next slide, please. So we want to make sure that this cuisine and practices that promote food sustainability is in our culture. And I'd like to quote here to end Honorable Roy Simatu, former Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, who's from Ilocos Norte. And he made a quote for my book. And he said, "We have a strong bond to our land, our birthplace, and natural resources that form part of our upbringing and identity. With our forefathers, we have fiercely defended these throughout our long history. It's only right that these traditions are passed on to future generations." Next slide, please. And so we do education. We incorporate cuisine in cookery, and we do teacher training, and we did one or two already with DepEd Ilocos Norte, DepEd Lawag City, DepEd Batak City, and LGUs, the Philippine Government of Ilocos Norte. in ensuring that teachers are able to incorporate, have the knowledge to incorporate these principles in sustainability to be taught in our classrooms for the younger generation. So we not only incorporated environmental educations, which we did with Dr. Galang, Tess, and Vicky way back in our younger years, but also use other forms of media, such as music, to be able to appreciate the ingredients and the ways of cooking, which we have inherited from our forefathers. And lastly, may I play for 1 minute only the song Tarong Kamatis at Paria, or uh, also otherwise known as Big Bigat, Iti Big Bigat, which we will promote in our next seminar. And again, this will be sponsored by Kanuidan Foundation. And the new version was popularized, or will be popularized, by Miriam Factora, a good friend of mine, also from Ilocos Norte. So, with your indulgence, let me just play to you in audio a song that will be converted into more youth-friendly music, but this is the original. And for the Ilocanos in the audience, I hope you appreciate this.
Iti bigbigat nga agsapa, agtatamdagak manijay tawa, at dadatarong kamatis parya, nangeg ko idang agsasarita, tikunan tarong kadakwada, siyak ikay masan kadakay ngadwa, ket nimet parya simumbat ita, ay tarong napalangguat ka, ni kamatisen ni misem laeng, ay gagayem ko in kay agparbeng, tano adaak iti dinengdeng, tay pinakbet na imimas manen.
Wow.
Okay, for those who are not Ilocanos, it's about the eggplant, the kamatis, and the paria, who are talking to each other in the garden and making vida as to what they can do for dinengdeng and also pinakbet. So that next slide, please. So this is me, my picture, and of course, stranting my favorite Lola's pandiling, no, her skirt. That's my grandmother's skirt, and so please eat Ilocano cuisine as part of propagating our Ilocano culture. And for any information, you can email me at these addresses. Thank you very much, Just Agnina. Thank you for
Ay,
that.
thank you, Donna. Wow, that was very interesting. Mga Ilocano pala talagang um, ecologists, no? And they're known actually for using the resources around them, growing them, taking care of them, helping each other, taking care of the environment. Wow, galing. Thank you so much. Donna actually was my boss at the Environmental Studies Institute. We have been friends for a long, long time. Maraming talents yan. From organizing community-based reforestation programs in Tanay to giving trainings all over the country on environmental education. And now, talagang advocacy for Ilocanos, no? Yung the culture, the good culture of Ilocos, healthy,
Yeah,
and the
thanks.
healthy Iloco food.
Let me say, yeah, thank you. And let me say that Dr. Galang was our boss for the longest time. And Miss Vicky Segovia, Tessa, and myself were the core of the Environmental Studies Institute. And so Vicky gave us the nickname Voltes 4. So we are the Voltes 4 and we have stayed friends even to this day. So thank you for your invitation to speak in this 422nd Forum of the Green Convergence.
Well, thank you, Donna. Na napakain ako, nasarapan ako sa pakbet because of Donna. So thank you.